Good day, beautiful souls. Hope Healer here. I'm so grateful to be here. Let's start with some affirmations. Because of the topic that we're going into today of self-sabotage, I would like to do a few affirmations of worth and self-love. I am worthy. I am deserving. I am giving myself unconditional love. I am giving myself permission to pour into my own cup. And I am giving myself permission for others to show up for me in a healthy way. Okay. So today we are going over the topic of self-sabotage, right? And it can look pretty cut and dry and sometimes not so much. Self-sabotage is a self-harm, self-sacrifice, and self-abuse typically caused by a core abandonment or neglect trauma. Whether that's in childhood, young adult, or adulthood, that's where it's coming from. You deserve to receive what you need. Remember that. So self-sabotage can look as simple or as extravagant as anything, depending on your experiences. Some of the simpler ways that we tend to see this manifest in our life is putting others above ourselves. Making sure others are happy, taken care of, fed, have what they need. So any mental, physical, financial, emotional, spiritual needs of others come before yours, and 9 times out of 10, yours never get met because you've sacrificed all of your time, effort, energy, money, everything that you have on other people. So that's one of the ways that it shows up a lot in people's lives. 2, choosing to eat something unhealthy just to keep going and get other things done. That is a self-sabotaging behavior. Number 3, not taking time to rest properly. That's a self-sabotaging behavior. Making excuses not to work on yourself is a huge way that we can tell we are throwing ourselves under the bus. We're not taking the time to do what we need to do for us, to work on ourselves, to get through the things that we need to get through. Whether that's coaching, therapy, spending time with a friend to just connect, spending time in nature, doing some kind of movement therapy for yourself, whatever that looks like. Staying in relationships that only drain you is self-sabotage. Not finding a hobby or putting effort into a passion with your creativity, self-sabotage. Now, some of the more extensive things that we may not recognize as self-sabotaging behaviors are a little bit deeper than that. And sometimes they're not as recognizable to the just conscious awareness. So, and these are directly related to people's core wound traumas. And when we start to recognize them, awareness is a huge part of healing. Because if we're not aware that we're doing these behaviors, how can we fix them? So now that we're going to bring some of this stuff up, it'll be easier to recognize, so we can start noting down that we're doing this, how often we do it, and how we can shift that. So here's one. Shutting down ideas or suggestions of ways to cope, heal, or deal with things. We make excuses like that doesn't work, or it won't work, or I've tried that. I understand you may have actually tried some of these things before, and possibly you were not ready to receive the assistance it could have provided. Absolutely. Your past self was not ready, right? And if you're by keeping an open heart and an open mind to receive that assistance in your current self, you may benefit from these things instead of just shutting it down. Especially if you're working with someone like a coach that can guide you through it. When you're working with coaches, they have a better understanding of how to navigate these things. And that's why it's really important to work with somebody that you trust, because we don't just bring up this stuff so you can get stuck in it. We bring it up so you can work through it and then build yourself back up. So it's a beautiful process. But try not to shut down ideas. Like, I know a lot of times if we're already elevated and escalated and in our anxiety or panic or anger, we're like, that's not going to work. Instead, just try. Just try it again, because sometimes that past self it didn't work for, but the current self it might. Okay, so recognize if you're shutting down suggestions or ideas. Okay, the next one, not accepting compliments, real support, or acknowledging someone who has been a healthy support system for you. You are sabotaging having the healthy connection with people that you are really wanting and needing. We often deflect exactly what we need, want, seek, or desire when we are getting that from the wrong person. We want it to come from someone else, that validating, complimenting, or supporting in that way from someone else. We tend to push the healthy love away and out as it hasn't even happened. We tend to not even hear or see it, hoping that it comes from someone else that has made us feel unworthy. Let that sit for a second. How many of you have realized that you have actually had a supportive person and giving you exactly what you need in that moment, that time, that crisis, but you've not acknowledged the fact that they have been there for you. You've not accepted their compliments about how your light shines so beautifully and that you're so amazing. Instead, we're expecting people who have clearly shown us they are not capable of loving or supporting us like we need for them to do it for us, instead of accepting the ones that are giving it to us. People of trauma have a core wound this revolve around. We want that person that we've poured all of our love, time, effort, energy. We want them to give us the validation, the recognition, the whatever, the support that we've been trying to push them to do, but they're not the ones that's going to give it to us. So we're sabotaging our own connections with healthy people. All right. I know it's deep. Expectation. The next one, expectations. Sometimes we expect others to know exactly what we need and exactly when we need it. But we have clearly not communicated those things that we want or need. So instead, we are sabotaging ourselves and creating pain. I know some of you have done this. I've done this. Until we understand that we are part of our problem. We haven't communicated, this is what I need or want. And if you have communicated that with someone and they haven't made any movement towards being more supportive in those ways after you've already told them, then you know that that's not your safe person. But if you haven't communicated that stuff, how are they supposed to know? How are they supposed to know that you need a hug when you're crying unless you've told them? And trying and expecting them to know in those moments when you're already sad, you're already angry, is not going to help when you're trying to communicate it at that time. So communicating those wants, needs, desires before you get in those emotions is important. So you can come across in a calm manner like, I would really like it if, when I become sad, you would hold my hand or ask me what's wrong. You know, those types of things. We're sabotaging ourselves by having expectations that people won't know what we need. Heck, half the time we don't even know what we need. So we have to be very mindful in communicating those things. So, what about you? Is there anything on this list that you feel like that really resonates with you in self-sabotage, self-harm, self-abuse? Because if there is, it's tied to a core wound. There's something deep inside you that has felt abandoned, that has felt neglected, and you really need to tap in and understand these self-sabotaging behaviors are not just coming for no reason, they're coming from trauma. And to understand that trauma that is keeping it linked to those sabotaging behaviors can help you to stop your self-sabotaging behaviors and start opening yourself up to more connections and more healthy types of relationships. I love you. Blessings, light, and love.